Everyone, I hope that you waked up, that you had your coffee, because I had just one. It helped me to wake up and come here and talk to you this insanely early on Friday. So I hope you will like this presentation. My name is Elena. I'm region and scripting producer in Larian.
And my name is Vladimir. I'm associate scripting lead for our scripting team here in Barcelona.
Yes, we both are working in a studio in Barcelona, one of the studios in Larian which we had. We've been here for a previous event. We really liked it. So this time we decided to come to you and to tell us about our specific department, scripting department, and what we do in Larian. So I hope that you like it. I don't know if you played our game. Not played our game, probably you heard something, so just a warning, there will be some spoilers. My sincere apologies for this, we cannot do anything for it, but we want to share some information with you, and we hope that for some of you it will be useful. Well, sorry. What is special in our games, which I believe is special in our games? It's how we build in the quests. A lot of quests which we're building, we're trying to make unique. We're trying to give as much variety of outcomes for this quests for player, because all of our players are different. They prefer different styles of passing our game, and we should respect it. We also do love use some moral dilemmas in our quest, because it's important. You should feel yourself connected. You should feel that your decision actually affects your gameplay, and you should feel that world react on it. So different NPC will react differently, depends on the choices which you made previously. We have a lot of quests in our game, like really a lot, but we also have a big team. I'm not saying that you in your games should make as many quests as we are, because obviously you have smaller team and you don't need it. It's more about the quality, approach, and we want to show you our style of making this game.
Oh, hello. What matters for us in our situations? Situations is our fancy name for saying quests, because quests usually have a concrete goal you try to achieve, and basically you on a path to this goal. With situations, it's a bit more broader term. Under this, we mean both the quests and some occasional cool NPC who has some skill checks in the dialogue, but the dialogue doesn't necessarily lead to any task for you to accomplish. Still, we want to include it in our game, and we need to work on it. So that's our umbrella term for all of the content in our game. The most obvious thing, yes, we try to do unique and innovative situations, something which we didn't see in other games or even in our previous games. We try not to repeat ourselves. Obviously, we want to for players to engage with our situations, to feel some kind of empathy towards the characters we have in there or some other emotions. And to me, at least, I think the most important part of our situations is the multiplayer aspect, because we do try, and sometimes it's really a struggle to make our situations work both in single player and also at the same time in multiplayer. So you can play online with your friend, and situation will make sense, and also just by yourself with a party of companions, and situation will also work.
This last point, which Vladimir mentioned, it's a crucial one in our work on quests, because our players are trying to break the game, break the quest in multiple ways, and we're trying to respect it and to give our players what we have. We will tell you a little bit more about this point in our following slides. So obviously we have challenges. The games which we're making are big one, and we have a huge team of people working on quests, on situations. And sometimes it's really hard to stay on track, to make sure that all of our quests, all of our mini boosters, some hidden gems are connected to main story. That player won't be distracted, that he won't play in a bunch of mini games inside of one game and still will get some new info, some profit of passing even smallest game. He will see that it's connected. Also in our games, in our last game, we had origins. And origins are special NPCs who has backstory. They have absolutely different goals that we have in our main goal. And their decisions can change quests so dramatically that sometimes you are playing different games when you choose in different origin. For example, we have Gityanki, Laezel, who doesn't care about mind flayers in our last game. Her prime goal is to deal with her people, to reach her own goal, and Truth to be told, we reworked so many quests just because we had Lazel here, just because we wanted to be special for her when you play in as Lazel. Vladimir mentioned that we have systemic approaches in our game, and by systemic, we mean different things. For example, crime behavior is systemic approach. What we're doing in camp is systemic approach. We want to have it transparent for player. When they understood one of the mechanic, they will immediately know that yes, the same mechanic will be next time met in the quest. He could use some tips and trips which he got for this quest for next quest. So we're trying to keep it coherent for player. And our scripters are working on some of these mechanics, so they're not only creating some behavior for NPCs, like it's a lot of stuff which scripters are doing. And other departments which I mentioned here. When we're asking our scripters to create the quest, it's not something which we can publish. It will be like almost naked NPC doing something, talking with someone. There are many, many other departments which need to work on our quest after we're done with our part. We need to record the line, we need to invite actors, sometimes famous actors, we need to respect their time. We need to give our artists and the VFX artists time to actually implement something. And cinematic, of course. These small video parts which you see in our game takes a lot of time to make, to polish them, so we're trying to respect their time too and work as fast as we can. That's why we had our own pipeline, we had a lot of checklists, and we will tell like, some of our hacks how we're doing it. Why do we need workflow when we're working on station? We have many scripters, 27 so far, and we're growing. They are working from different sides of the world. I will show you their faces later. And we need to make sure that they do understand how to deal with our quest, to make sure that, yes, we're doing it in the same timeline. As producer, it's important for me that they will respect deadlines, and that if we ask one scripter to replace another on the quest, he knows immediately what to do. Plus, it helps us to onboard new people and make sure that we are doing the right thing, because we tested this workflow many, many times. We're changing our workflow after every release, after every patch, to make sure that we take everything in account. We also have checklists on every stage which we have in our workflow. This checklist wasn't written by me. They were written by scripters who did it well, and it's more the guidance for the guys, like what you need to keep in mind, what you shouldn't forget when you're working on something. So how we're starting? We are getting narrative pitch. Narrative pitch, sometimes it's a couple of pages, sometimes it's one sentence idea of what we want to show on this quest. We have awesome narrative team who are giving us all of these ideas, and then we need to convert it in something playable, something which we can touch in the game. So we start an initial implementation. It's absolutely different story when you're reading something on paper and when you see it in the game. Reality shows that sometimes what you see in game doesn't fit to our idea. Sometimes it can take too long for player to pass it, and we need to shorten it. Sometimes it's such a cool quest, but it doesn't fit to the game, and we had to cut it. So we use this prototype stage to make sure that we are on the right track, to get a confirmation that what we're doing is fine. And when I'm talking about prototype, it's not a one-time thing. We're doing it through iterations. Sometimes it's 3, 4, sometimes it's more iteration for one prototype, just to make sure that we try to cover all of the main flows of our situation and that we do understand how it will look in the game.
Yes, after we went through several stations, iterations, and yeah, sometimes it's not just a few and quite a number of them. And once everybody is who involved in working on station is happy with how it shapes up, we proceed to the more advanced stage, which we call orange box, when we really start to flesh out all the details of the situation. We start adding what we call edge cases. It's our term for any kind of path players might take, which goes outside of our envisioned playthrough. For example, we have a key NPC who involved very intricately in the whole situation, but players just killed this NPC at the beginning of the quest. Well, yeah, sure, we can just stop the quest at this point, but it will not be that interesting to proceed without any content in the game. So we try to come up with ways for players to still progress if they just basically do crazy stuff in our game and just like go on killing spree. We try to, yeah, it's always a budget question, so we can obviously like fill the game with a lot of cinematics for each of the edge cases, but we always don't have this opportunity, so we try to be creative with our solutions, how we cover these N+1 solutions, as we call them. So each quest should have a number of solutions, additional solutions, which players can find and basically finish the situation. Also, at this stage, we work on behaviors for our NPCs to make the world feeling alive, so they just not stand like I'm currently standing, but walk around, play some animations, engage with other NPCs in conversations, and basically convey the feeling of that the world is actually a living world where people make do with their lives, stuff happens, and basically players are not the very cornerstone of this whole location. Obviously, at this stage, we also go through a lot of iterations. Stuff might change. We might decide that the situation at this moment in development or doesn't make a lot of sense, so we might go back to the previous stage and start prototyping again, searching for new ideas. So it's an interesting, iterative, and collaborative process with a whole range of people. But if we're finally happy with all of the stuff we actually achieved, we transition to the polishing phase, at which point we mostly just fix the pesky bugs our QA find and just general touch-ups of all the stuff. The big question.
Vladimir mentioned edge cases, which we had. And as I told you before, edge cases is a crucial part in our way of creating quests. We don't make non-linear quests. We prefer to give all of the crazy possible outcome in our quests, which we can think about. And to make it happen, we are using these what-if questions on our brainstorm sessions. Brainstorm sessions happen like throughout all of the life cycle of our situations. On any moment, we can think and ask ourselves, okay, what we will do, what will happen. And the most funny stuff, my personal beloved stuff happens, which this what-if question has like really crazy answer in it, which will make you engagement. To give you an idea, like what can happen, in our previous game, we developed the entire second act, and we thought, okay, our player will go from this point through this point to that point, and then on playtesting, we realized, okay, our players are too smart. They decided to go through the end, through the entire act to the end of it, avoiding all of the possible locations which we placed for them, so like diligently taking care of them. And we still wanted it to be fun. We wanted to give them this aha moment, like I tricked the game, but still game did something for me. So we tried to take it in account. We have a lot of mechanics, a lot of systemics in our game, and we're allowing players to use it. If you can fly, yes, you allow it to fly in almost every location when it's possible. If you learn how to use mage hands to protect yourself, or if you learn how to disarm traps, yes, you can do it. And we need to test it and see what's the surprise moment we will put as a result of it. Sometimes our cool quests appears out of nowhere. Like Larian is known as dog loving company. We have a lot of dogs. We have a lot of people who has dogs. Some of them are bringing dogs to the office. And one of our quests was when you're meeting the dog close to that owner, and that was it. That was just one moment. But gosh, we were so attached to these dogs, and we decided to bring it as camp follower. And we created many situations just specifically for this dog. We added cats specifically to meet this dog. Sometimes this kind of attachment brings us joy, and we saw that our players really love these side characters, which we decided to put on the light. What else? About next point, I will show you the video, so you will see how it looks, so I will skip it. And of course, obviously, you majority of you saw this scene when we were amongst the bear, which also was born from the question of our writer, okay, what if I want to do it? Okay, you want it, let's try to do it. And that's how we're doing things in Larian usually.
So yeah, we have several things which are involved in developing our situation, beside the obvious ones where you just take the stuff and get it done. We have some accompanying things which we put in our process. For example, we have scripting buddies system, which is, we have a lot of quests, a lot of situations, but we don't have a lot of people to implement them. So we try to pair scripters with another scripter, and they work in pair basically to bump up ideas of each other, or just to have a fresh set pair of eyes and your situation which you've been working like for half a year and you already don't see a lot of rough corners which might be there. And obviously to help with the technical side of things, so to help with the reviews, to maybe provide some advice on which systems we have, and the scripter wasn't paying much attention to what actually is in our scripting systems. Obviously, we go through multiple reviews and feedback sessions with different number of people. The main ones like with RPG designers or with writers, and also we try to encourage scripters themselves, like their buddies from different situations, to play the situations of each other, so they can provide feedback and to actually see what their buddies working on.
Yeah, almost every person in Larian play in our games before we release it. Maybe just except of programmers, they're trying to stay aside, but we're still forcing them to do it. So you can be sure that at least 500 of people played this game and tested it before we showed it to people. And about testing, we have several ways of testing our situations. For sure, the scripter himself will test the situation, his scripting buddy will test the situation, and the entire scripting team will do it. We also have some automation testing for our situations, because our game is taking hundreds of hours to pass. It's impossible for one person to test it again and again and again and again with different outcomes. So we have people who are creating for us these automation scripts and making sure the game was tested. And we have QA department who are doing amazing work by finding us bugs, checking for us multiple times. Trust me, they will start hate this game close to the release, because they saw it so many times that they know every single bit about it. And we have play testers. We invite in play testers in our studio. We're asking them to have the fresh perspective on what they saw. We're asking them specifically, please try to break this game. We want to see how you will do it. We want to see what we can do now before we release it, to make sure it looks good, that the quality is good, that you like it as player. And sometimes we are getting back to whiteboard. Sometimes we're redoing situations, sometimes we're redoing parts of our game because it doesn't fit to the main idea, and it can happen on every stage, on narrative pitch stage, or when we're on polishing already, when we fully implemented it, when we recorded it with famous actors, then we decide, nah, we need to redo and start from scratch, and we're doing it sometimes.
So yes, who is or what is a scripter? Basically, other companies have this position which might be called mission designer or technical designer or even sometimes level designer. We basically take the narrative information of our game and put it inside the game in the gameplay sequence. So starting from putting the dialogue files in there for writers to later write them to position NPCs, and basically doing all the gameplay sequence from dialogues and everything outside of combat. Puzzles, systemic approaches to stealth, not the systems themselves, but like the use of them in the situations.
Sorry?
Scripters, by scripters, because we still prefer this kind of location where we on the brink between the programming and design. All of our guys enjoy doing both of this stuff, so yes, we use a scripting language instead of what I would understand majority of companies use visual programming for this. It provides us agility and flexibility to implement the situations which might not be your usual, like kill an NPC scenario, but a bit more elaborative, and scripting language provides this freedom. Yes. As I mentioned, we work on implementing the gameplay sequence of a situation from start to very end lines, but obviously we are not the single person who involved in this. We have several different teams who all engage and work collaboratively on a situation, starting from the narrative team to scripters to writers to cinematic team to all the asset teams, and we try, everybody can chime in, and we all try to work together on this huge theme. And yes, we use our scripting languages called Azaris and Anubis. One is our own in-house language, another is based on Lua, so it's a bit more approachable for people who might know Lua.
I don't like this photo. It looks very much like me every Monday morning, like before I drink my coffee. So what I'm doing in this team, I'm making sure that we will release the game in the time which we promised to release the game. I'm trying to make sure that the team which we have in our team is well built, that they feel fine, that they do understand what's needed from them. I'm trying to support them on every single step they are doing in this situation. I'm participating in day-to-day life. So I'm working with them to create and update our workflow. I'm talking to many people from other departments to making sure like my team is happy and they have everything they need to finish this game. And sometimes I can be a bad cop because I need it to be done in time. And scripters, they're unique people. They're trying to make a situation on this perfection level, and we never had time for full perfection level, so I'm the person who is stopping them in time sometimes. Yeah, so that's my job. Do you need scripting producer? Most probably you won't have this specific role. Most probably part of this role will do someone else in your team because you have smaller team. You don't need to have a person who will check what 7 studios in different parts of the world will be doing right now. It can be RPG designer, it can be like any designer in your team, it can be even lead programmer. I saw these examples, just to make sure that there is a person who is sitting with your team and making sure that you're getting things done. Maybe when you become like bigger companies, and I really wish you all success on your journey, you will have scripting producer and you will know what does it mean and what we do. So we talked a lot. It's early morning, so we will try to entertain you a little bit and show you some examples of the quests which were made and explain why we made these particular decisions.
So as an example of what if moment, here we have situation with an old lady who is being annoyed by a couple of guys on the road. And what if players decide not to help her?
But you're bloody getting some if you don't.
Lads, for the love of all that is holy, I've never clapped eyes on your poor sister.
Drop the act, hag. You was the last to see me, Rena.
Just let her go. Please.
You there? Please, I don't know what's come over these boys. I just want to go home.
Stop this. We won't ask again.
Bollocks. You were supposed to rush to my defense, love. Fat lot of good you are. Some advice. You ever darken my door, you'd best have that head bowed and an apology at the ready. Bye-bye now.
So, as you can see, nothing might be as it seems. And you can discover the continuation of the story in the game.
Next quest is my favorite one, and I will share some secret with you. Our players should never ever be able to see this quest. It shouldn't be here. As producer, I was supposed to cut it in the very beginning, but one of my scripters secretly placed the prototype on it in game, and we fell in love with it. And so, gosh, I wish we had more time to build the entire story about it, but let's keep it here. Let's have this hidden gem for those players who will encounter it, and let them try out this experience. So what you will see here, a player came to Circus. They tried to talk to many people, and then have found a genie in this scripter. Genie is not the person to whom you can trust, and obviously he's trying to trick you. And he did it. So you failed his quest. He tricked you. He lied to it. What will happen next?
Behold my fury!
You became converted to cheese. What should you do? Can you play this game as a cheese? Yes, you can.
See!
As as you can see, you moving with a different option. The world will react on you, and you will have your special superpowers as a cheese. For example, this famous smell of cheese. Let's destroy this party, right? Run, fools, run. It's absolutely side quest. If you haven't found it, you won't miss anything. If you will, it will make you laugh.
And on a bit another topic, it's about the reactivity which we put in the game and basically what we try to do while we're working on the edge cases. Here is the station in Goblin Camp. We see several goblins who were partying and they had a little bit too much and now they're sleeping. Players want to proceed further and they see a breakable wall which they obviously try to break, which wakes the goblins.
My head's killing me. What is all that noise?
The mark glows, but you feel nothing in response. Your illithid power is beyond reach until you rest.
You obviously can try to say your way out of the station, but the dice might not be always in your favor.
Hold up. Who are you? Intruder! You come here!
Okay, we showed you several situations which we personally like, and now I will show you people who made these situations. So as I told you, we have distributed team. Our guys are working in Canada, in Malaysia, in different studios in Europe. We are building new team in Poland. We will hire more scripters here to give you unique experience. Working with a distributed team sometimes hard. They're waking up too early, they're going to bed like way too late, and sometimes our schedule is chaotic. We need to find this golden hour when everyone is here just to make sure we're talking to each other, that we are not losing this in-person contact, like we're doing a lot of stuff for it. The benefit of it, that we are getting people with absolutely different perspective. They have different cultural background. When they were young, they read different books, watched different cartoons, so they can bring some fresh air in our situations, and they won't be bored. You won't know, like, we have our team in Barcelona, and they tend to bring something from folklore they used to know. So it's very interesting to see how guys in Asia react on this folklore from Spain. So it's an awesome experience. I usually call our scripters unicorns because it's hard to find the person with this mindset, but we love and cherish every one of them. Like some of them are here in the end of this row. So they're very cool, they're very special. It's a pure joy to work on them, and their creativity helped us to create the games which you saw, which we love, and I hope that you love. But we are on community with a lot of indie game devs, and what we want to share with you is some advices which we want to give to you. Majority of them are common knowledge, but sometimes it's worth to remind even common knowledges as we do into us. So the advices which we have, when you're building your game or your games, try to avoid repetition of what you did, because your players will spot it. Probably you won't spot it, but they will. And you want to keep this element of surprise in all of your games. Try to think how to make different outcomes from the quests which you have. Try to create unique quests. Think of them as you as a player, what you want to see here. It helps a lot. What else? Nothing is existing in isolation. And I'm talking not only about the quest, we should take in account all of the quests around them, all of the stories around them, but also about people. People need to talk to each other. You need to talk to different departments. You need to know what they think about it. So make sure that you are building this quest as a team, that you know what to expect from them, that different people, different types of player will give their opinions on the quest. And yes, as I told you, be ready to kill your darlings. Sometimes you have to cut the quest, even if you love it. it's for sake of good game. Sometimes we need to cut something just to make game better.
Yeah, like obviously it might sound like, oh, sure, I'm a small developer and you like big company, you might create like a lot of quests. At this point, I would say it's better to have quality over quantity because, yeah, sure, you might have only 3 quests in your game, but if you try to put the best things possible you strive to achieve and like introduce some non-linearity into it, there are some unique angle on the usual story, it might be way more engaging than just having 20 quests of how to go and kill some NPCs.
That's it, guys. Thank you very much. We still have some time, so if you have any questions to ask, you can ask now. You can come to our booth, but we have time now. If you're ready, please ask. We will try to be as honest as we can. Yes, sure.
Sí.
He was first.
Hello?
Hello.
So about the what if that you were talking about, that you have to keep thinking on all all the possibilities the player have in every quest to try to make it interesting for all those possibilities. There has been like some, for example, you have a really cool mechanic or something that you are allowing the player that in, I don't know, 4 situations is like super cool, super great, but then it's super problematic for the other 40 or 50 situation. In those cases, do you prioritize, okay, let's try to readjust everything for this mechanic, or it's better to just like, just cut it completely in order to not overwork all like the process of the of the design?
It really depends on case by case. For some mechanics, we were changing them throughout all of the game development. For example, camp mechanics, which we changed almost every single act we implemented because we understood, okay, there are too many companions. We need to make sure that game reacts on them. For some other cases, yes, the mechanic was so cool that we decided, okay, let's invest some time. Let's ask our programmers or scripter to work for half a year for this specific mechanic because we believe it will be a killing feature. And if our previous quest, which we implemented before, doesn't have this mechanic, we are going back to them and we're adding these mechanics to this quest. It's really case by case. I don't have a single answer for you.
Obviously, we try to accommodate as much of systems D&D has as possible, but yeah, at some points we do have to make some choices and decide if we really want to push it and put in the whole game and like spend extra time on this, or yeah, we might need to find some different solution and some kind of different systemic to put in there instead.
Thank you.
Hello? Okay, sorry. How do you know when to stop? Where do you draw the line? Is it a time? Is it a question of development time, budget? Where do you say we are not going to have any more quests? 288 is just enough. How did you stop?
I'm saying it every
don't
day.
stop.
Guys, we need to stop, please. It doesn't fit to my roadmap. I showed you this roadmap. Do you remember? Like, you're spending too much time. But no, in reality, like, we're making this weighted decision, like, yes, we can make it better. Yes, we can do that. I'm running to Sven, showing his numbers and telling him, yeah, we can make it better, but you know, it will produce another 1,000 of bugs, or we will release in 2 years. Do we want it? No, we don't want it. So I'm asking scripters to stop, just to stop doing it. So it's me, usually begging on my knees for guys to stop doing something.
Thank you.
Hola, hola. Hello. So, first of all, I love this game so much. It's such an amazing game. Changed my life. But such a complex game with such complex moral ethics situations and such a big team. I was wondering if you, I mean, you must rely on knowing about philosophy and ethics. And maybe my question is, do you read? Do you have someone in your team that is a philosopher? Maybe I'm not framing the question the best way. I was maybe like, I mean, it's so many situations and so many ethic outcomes. How do you come up with the complexity of it and being rich and still interesting?
It's a joint effort. We don't have one single philosopher. We have a bunch of people who knows a lot. We have narrative team who building for us the story. We have writing team, and by nature they're reading a lot. They're writing a lot. Some of them has wrote their own books. And gosh, moral dilemmas in these books are even harder than we have in our games. We have scripters. Scripters read a lot, watch a lot of movies, play a lot of games, and all of them, they're having these cool ideas, and then as a team we're deciding which idea we will try to expand. Sometimes we are doing this role play brainstorming, like pretending, okay, you're bad person, you're trying to kill everyone, you're good person, you're trying to save this. Like the biggest moral dilemma was for us, like, are we allowed to kill children in our game? Because Quest demanded it. No, let's not step this line. We don't want to do it.
Unless the goblin kids.
Yes, some of them, not all of them. We're not that cruel. So literally, ideas come from everyone. What we're trying to make sure what we're trying to do to make sure that the level of this like tension in our game will stay the same, and that is usually done during review. So sometimes it's Sven or some of other people are telling us like, here I felt that I have to do some choice which will affect me. And there is no, it was like exploration. So we're trying to balance it in our game. But yeah, it's really about people. They're super cool. They have so many ideas, we cannot even squeeze it in one game. So for me, it's not a problem like to have many. For me, it's a problem how to choose from all of these options which they provided.
Thank you so much. And I see that what makes this game so special is work team, and that you guys obviously had so much fun doing it.
Yeah, we did.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So hello, thanks for the talk. It was really interesting. So my question is, you mentioned that you test a lot with players, with colleagues. So I was wondering what kind of fidelity you test, like the prototype. Is the final prototype with higher fidelity? Is a low fidelity prototype? So how is that process?
Will you reply?
Like obviously during the prototype stage, we don't have like full-blown cinematics and like all the pretty things. It might be just like, especially since we call the phases boxes, it might be just a set of boxes without any like visual fidelity at all. But from our angle, we try to test how the situation, how the plotline will work, how it will feel in the gameplay. Obviously, cinematic team, for example, they try from their angle how it will look visually. They try to do storyboards to envision before they even had anything to touch in the game. And yeah, if we work fast and we don't take half a year to implement situation, we might give it to them and they will already have something before they even started working. How we decide how much visual fidelity we put in there? Well, as I mentioned, we always want to have as much as possible, but we do have to decide at some points. So yeah, not easy. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello. First thing first, thanks for this talk. I think it was really enlightening. You already know all the fun we had playing the game, but now we kind of know some of the fun you had while making it. So I think that's important. And my question is, in all the complexity of the game, all the branching set quests, all the possibilities, how do you make sure it all makes sense? Like, one quest is coherent with the other and one branch is coherent with the other part? Like, how do you make sure that everything stays packed together?
We don't know till we try it out. Like, really, we have some ideas. We believe that it connects, but we need to touch it in games. That's why we're having that many iterations. We're testing it and playing a lot. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes we're just hoping it will merge, and we're doing some changes to make sure that, yes, it's coherent.
And yeah, as we've mentioned, it's a collaborative effort, so it's like we try to encourage all the teams talking with each other, playing the game, seeing what is in there, so they can, like, if there are concerns like, oh, this location, it is not connected to anything at all, like, maybe there are some ways to connect it to for example, to the Goblin camp. And we basically try to gather as much feedback from the team itself as possible.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, we don't have many silver bullets. We're just doing our game as you do in your game. So sometimes, like, our answers are not enlightening. It's just part of work.
Hello, thanks for the talk. I came midway through it, so maybe my question has already been answered. If that's the case, sorry. So, as a producer, I find it quite hard to know how much mileage to give people before, make something actually click or actually work. In this case, I'd say, like, for example, the quests, maybe you have like a good pitch, but then, like, it's not quite there. So I don't know, how do you approach like giving this mileage for this really good pitch to actually be able to work? And also I'm very interested, like, in the process for a quest to actually be approved. Like, does some people in the studio play it and then you gather on a table and vote? Do you have, I don't know, like a methodology of a matrix with like numbers? You say, I don't know, I give this rate or something. I don't know, I'm very interested in like this process.
Okay. As I told you, it's a team effort. So we have many people who can say the no or yes to this quest. Of course, we have people who we name and, okay, you're responsible for this part of the game. It's your job to make sure that quests are linking together, that they're fun. You need to do this first sum up on this quest. But then it can be like literally anyone in one team. It can be me as producer. I can say, like, I believe this quest is too complex. I believe that if we will start to implement it, it won't give any fun, or it will raise so many consequences later that it doesn't worth to even start. It can be other scripters. It can be even guys from QA who are testing our games like very, very late. We cherish their opinion, and we're trying to change our quests to make sure that, yes, it makes sense to work on them, to implement them. So we don't have one. Yeah, we have Sven. Sven always can say, okay, I don't like it, kill it. And Sven knows what he's saying, but we have that many people in Larian for a reason. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming so early, for being there for us. We really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.